Happy New Year, everybody. Been trying to find a way to address some of the things that have happened over the last couple of months. And I figured that the best way to do that would just simply be to just talk. I have nothing written down. I have no script. I just decided to turn the camera on and just speak my mind on this issues. There's a couple. Um, So I kind of found myself in a bit of a controversy recently, as you may have noticed, and some of you may be confused if you spend time on Twitter or Discord as to what exactly is going on with me and what's happening in general, and I'll do my best to explain, but I truly just want to be I want all of this to be behind me, and if I can help it, I would just like to never be involved in any kind of pathetic Twitter drama again, or just internet drama in general. I know it might be an unrealistic goal, but I feel like there's so many. I'll explain this more in a minute, but I just feel like there's so much more to do, and so much more to life than arguing with someone on the internet. About something as stupid as a movie. I know some people might find what I just said disingenuous. I genuinely believe what I'm saying. I do think that arguing about movies on the internet is, at least for me, is not something I think is particularly healthy. Um, it certainly wasn't helping my mental health at all. But yes, as I was saying, I have no script. This is going to be mostly uncut, except for to take some of the more awkward pauses and whatnot out of the clip, of course. So basically, to make things short, um, last year was fun. I have to admit, despite some of its ups and downs, it was a wonderful opportunity to get close to some of the content creators that had looked up to for a really long time. Content creators that had heavily inspired me and my work on YouTube, what little work on YouTube that I have done before I privated a lot of my stuff because I wasn't very proud of the work that I had accomplished so far. Um, it was fun, but over time it became draining. I was becoming very unhappy with a lot of the work that I was accomplishing and the fact that I wasn't really getting a lot done. I was unhappy with how my podcast that I had started had turned out, which looking back, it's fine that those things didn't work out the way they did it's fine that those things didn't work out the way I had wanted them to, because that's just how it works. If you truly want to get better at something, you keep striving and you're going to create quality products rather than creating something subpar like I had done. I had fun with the episodes that I did and had fun with some of the guests that I had brought on, but I had enough. Enough of what? Basically just enough hostility and cynicism. Um, I had grown very tired of the constant fighting and bickering and arguing back and forth. It started draining on me to the point, and we weren't even, it felt like we weren't even arguing with people worth arguing with. Like, it was some random guy on Twitter or something like that might have said something stupid, and then all of us jumped on him and called him a moron or something like that. And it's like, what are we really doing anymore? What are we spreading? What kind of message are we trying to get across to people anymore, that were assholes that jump on you on Twitter and Discord if you say something wrong? It was basically how I felt about it, and I'm not gonna go around blaming anybody. It's like, oh no, they pushed me into it. They made me. Truth is, I did do it. A lot of it because I wanted this certain crowd to like me because it was a step closer to EFAP, and that was the crowd I wanted to be with. It was the same reason I got involved with the Anomaly Inc. crowd. Same reason I got involved with the Southpaw crowd. It's one step closer. I hate that was my goal, my reason for doing a lot of the things I did. I hate that's the reason I did things, but that's the truth. I just wanted to get close to EFAP. Now I have made some friends in both communities along the way. Looking back, I don't think that Anomaly's audience is quite as toxic as I may have supposed. Maybe given some of the behavior that I've witnessed in some of the other communities, maybe that's just changed my mind, like comparing the two. I do think they're too passionate about the prequel trilogy, in my opinion, the Star Wars prequel trilogy. I just don't. I just think most of them, at the very most, are just misguided. At the very most of them are just. I don't know if I'd even say foolish. They're just operating under different rules, I guess. It doesn't make them correct or anything like that. It's not the point. It just means that you can have a little more empathy and understanding of them if you understand why they think the way they do. And if you want to make friends with people, and it's like, oh no, you shouldn't make friends with those people, they're idiots. It's like, congratulations, you're an idiot too. You're an idiot to somebody. People, you shouldn't be shooing people away and casting people out simply because you find them stupid, right? Or you find them bad. If they are, if you look at their actions and see that they're not just pure evil, right? Like a pedophile or something like that. There's ways that you can help people, right? I was just so tired of constantly fighting with people whose biggest sin was saying something dumb when we could have possibly helped them or bring them over or help them understand where they were wrong, because most of these people were not that unreasonable, right? That's how I felt. That's how I felt. I could be wrong. I could be out of line, but I was tired of shooting first and asking questions later. I decided that I was going to start acting kinder and trying to be more merciful, not just on the internet, just to people around me in general, because this cynical, hostile landscape that I found myself in, and again, I'm not blaming anybody, I chose to put myself there, was making me cynical in my real life. Now you can laugh at that or chuckle if you would like, you know. It is a bit funny, but it is the truth. I saw I saw my mental inferiors as just that. I saw them as inferior. I saw them as idiots, not worthy of my time. And it's like, well, maybe that they're actually genuinely okay people who just don't know any better. They weren't given the same like logic that you were, you know? They weren't taught the same things. They don't understand things like you do. And I don't think that means we should act hostile. And it's the same thing with people that's like, oh, that guy's a racist and that guy's a sexist. It's like, okay, maybe, but maybe he's not actually a bad person, you know? And you know, it's like, no, you're saying racists can be good people. That's not my point, okay? I mean, maybe he's not rotten to the core. Maybe he was just a fool that received another fool's information. And maybe you have the opportunity to change his mind and befriend him, because he stops being the enemy once he becomes your friend. You know? If you can bring him on the other side, you've probably helped you've actually helped him. You've helped him by giving him that information rather than dogpiling him on Twitter, trying to explain to him why he is an idiot, like an idiot and or a retard. You know, I just don't like that method. I just don't like doing that. I didn't like doing that anymore. I'm not saying any particular names. I'm not saying any of you have necessarily done that. I'm saying I did it, and I did it so my peers would like me more. That's the truth of it. There is no other way to put it. I did it specifically so people within the inner circle of EFAP would like me, because look how smart I am. Look at me going out and slaying all the stupid people. I did it. Did it to PAIF. Did it to Cake Vibes. Did it to the Infamous. I've done it to plenty of other people, simply because I just wanted these people to like me. Again, it's no one else's fault. I did it. I'm the one that did it. I'm the captain of my ship, master of my soul. I'm the one that did it. I've got no one else to blame. And this isn't a video that's meant to bitterly go after people that have become my enemy in recent years, rather because they didn't like my new method of trying to actually talk to people first instead of reacting, or just because they weren't a fan of some of the mistakes that I have made. Whatever camp you fall in, or if there is other camps that I'm just not addressing off the top of my head. This really isn't a video addressed to you. It's just to explain what was going on in my head. Truth is, I just got tired. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I felt like the community that I had been part of for almost a year was shooting itself in the foot, was going down a path that I didn't want to follow. And in my opinion, they had made it very clear that they didn't want me there anymore, and that I wasn't welcome. So I made a dramatic exit. Too dramatic? Perhaps. In fact, maybe it actually was. Maybe I acted too hastily. I'm willing to admit that. But it doesn't change the fact. It doesn't change the fact that I still think this community overall is too cynical and hostile. And I just didn't want to be a part of that anymore. Some of you guys are great guys. I'm glad to have spent some time with you all and talking about movies and video games and books and whatnot and whatever it was I talked about. Or talked. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever it is that I talked to you about. It was fun. And I wouldn't really. I wouldn't change it or take it back or anything like that. It was fun. But now it's time to move on. Um, and I hope that you all that are still angry with me genuinely accept the apology that I do give. I don't regret everything. Not actually really regret don't really regret anything. It's just more of to show that I am sorry about the bad things, the things that I should have come to you first on, the things I should have said first in private before I decided to create a domino effect by revealing information to other people that I thought would be interested, because that's what I'm used to. When I make an enemy or someone goes against me on the internet, my first reaction is to fight back. And it's always been like that. It's not much like that anymore. As I said, I kind of lost taste for that kind of thing. But my first instinct is to build alliances with people that are against the people coming after me, and to try to crush the opposition. I did it with Pafe, did it with Jared, did it with Kugel, did it with the Infamous, and then I did it to you. And I'm sorry. That's not blaming anyone. I did it. I built the alliance. I went and gathered dirt. It was just a habit for me. I liked YouTube clan wars, I guess you could say. I liked starting fights, and I liked kicking people off, basically getting people kicked off the internet that I didn't like. Not saying that that was my mission with you all. I did try to make it a pure mission, if that makes any sense, with this last one, because I didn't want to go back to the old days of Jared and Pafe and Cake Vibes and just reacting every time some idiot said something I didn't like. I wanted to be different. I basically, what happened is that about late June, I started going through some self-reflection, and I started changing aspects of my character that I didn't like, or working on aspects of my character that I wasn't a big fan of. I started trying to work out more. I started trying to be a kinder person, because I kind of always been a bit of a cynic. Um, there's no better way to put it. I've always been kind. I guess you could say kind of an asshole. That was just something I was for a while, and it's just something I found. It was really fun to demean somebody. It was really fun to do that kind of thing to me. It's actually it gives me an adrenaline rush. It's one of the reasons I enjoy it so much. Um, but I didn't want to be like that anymore. Um, I just I started changing parts of my life. I started trying to look at things in a more positive light, in a better light, rather than the world sucks and everything is horrible. It's like, well, maybe things aren't that bad. Maybe things can be better. Maybe I can do things to make my life better rather than complaining about my disposition. Maybe I can actually improve core aspects of my life and actually genuinely fight to make them better, you know, instead of blaming him or blaming the world or blaming the current president and stuff like that. Because, yeah, I was a bit of a reactionary, and I was angry and cold and bitter. And I just hated the world. It got to the point where I'm sure some of you, I am sure some of you have seen the screenshot of like Facebook posts and stuff like that of me talking about Joe Biden from like a year ago. It's like, yeah, I'm not really like that anymore. because I've been just working on myself, and I just found out that one of the poisons in my life was the modern political landscape. If you can ignore that, please do. It's most of the information that you find on the news and stuff like that is utterly useless, and just means to basically put you in a constant state of stress. Um, just don't pay much mind to it. Like, maybe look at it every now and then to stay up to date, but please don't obsess over the ideological war going on in politics right now. Don't obsess over that. It's a good way to lead you down the path to hell, in my opinion. And when I mean hell, I mean like a self-made hell. It's not fun. It's not a good thing to get as upset. And I don't care if you're right or left, right? Because I'm more right. My politics are still mostly the same. Like, I still have mostly a lot of the same beliefs, a lot of the same core Christian conservative type beliefs, but I'm just not obsessed with the ideological war, trying to get a one up on those damn libs, something like that. I'm not obsessed with that anymore because it takes so much time from you. You be surprised how much time you burn just worrying about stuff that's just out of your control. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. So what I can do, I can get smarter. I can start working on my attitude, on my bad attitude, and I can start working on my health. So that's what I started doing. That's why after about June, July, I started mellowing out. I wasn't going all gung ho on people just because they said something. I started using Twitter less and less and less, and now I don't even have a Twitter anymore. I just deactivated the account. Garbage website, don't use it. I'd highly recommend getting off Twitter. If you have to use a social media platform, literally use anything but Twitter. Okay, Twitter is an absolute hellhole. But regardless, I went on a bit of a tangent. I digress. I just started mellowing out. I started becoming less concerned with beefs and fights and stuff like that, and started trying to be more concerned with talking things out and trying to make the one side understand the other, which is one of the reasons I made that post when EFAP's Terriers take came out. Was, guys, let's calm down. Let's not actually do this. Let's not go to war over this. Let's not overreact. We could make things worse. That was the reason, was because that was the way that I was trying to do things. And in the process, I overreact, and people could be like, that's a hypocrisy. It is. Got me there. It is hypocrisy. I overreacted. I shouldn't have. I started giving dirt. I don't know what better way to say that, about certain people to other people, because I felt like I wasn't welcome in that community anymore, and I needed to get out before the ship sank. That's how I felt. And I apologize for that. That is a hypocrisy, and it is something I've been trying to mend. Instead of overreacting, and I'm not perfect. I relapse sometimes because it's habit. Once you've spent most of your life being a reactionary, not reacting, ooh, that's hard to do sometimes. Now, I'm not saying like if your life's being threatened or your honor is being insulted or something like that, or something really major is happening. Obviously, you're supposed to react in some capacity, and sometimes you have to react, I don't know, violently to get things to stop. I'm not saying don't react ever. I'm just saying start reacting less. Start reacting when it matters. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do, was start reacting when it truly mattered, not when something stupid happened on Twitter. After that, there's a few more controversies I got myself into because I was trying to defend a friend. A couple of friends, actually. Um, and I still stand by everything that I pretty much did there. It wasn't for me. In fact, these people could have come after me as far as they did that friend, and like it would just been notifications to me. It would have mattered. You people literally can't hurt me. That's how I feel about it. That is my attitude. It's like, I mean, what's the most you're gonna do? It's just, the point is like, you guys really can't hurt me. That's how I thought about it. It's like, there's nothing that, when I mean you guys, I'm not talking to anyone in particular. It's just more just people on the internet in general. They really can't hurt you. like, oh, they can insult your honor and your intelligence, and they can insult all this, but unless you truly believe those things about yourself, how is that even going to affect you? Oh, you're an idiot. Well, if you are confident in yourself and know you're not an idiot, well, that shouldn't mean anything to you, right? Because usually when people are insulted, when people are offended, they're only offended because they know in their mind they feel like some aspect of what is being said is true. And if you know it's not, there's not really anything someone trying to shit talk you can do. You know what I'm saying? Um, I just just called down that my inner Jared Genesis. You know what I'm saying? You know? Yeah, that Jared Genesis situation was a wild ride. Maybe I'll tell that story someday. Um, but I just just wanted to defend a friend was all I was trying to do in that situation. I felt like he was being unfairly maligned. If it was me, I wouldn't have cared, but it wasn't me. It was happening to someone else. And I thought it was going to dangerous ground where people were posting pictures of one guy's house and stuff like that, and people were genuinely laughing at the fact that another person was upset by the torment that they were doing to him. They found it funny. Not they didn't find the jokes that they were making funny. They found it funny that he got upset by it. That was my issue. And I didn't like that. And not to mention, again, he's my friend. I've only got like 3 real friends. They're not even as close as friends as like my real life friends, like the people I actually interact with face to face, not through pixels. But still, I mean, I felt like this guy wasn't really able to defend himself, and I could do something again because I'm only trying to control what I can do, and I felt like that I needed to do something, so I did. I defended him. Don't regret that at all. I can't even think of a thing I regret a little bit. I am very confident that I was pretty much in the right in that situation. Regardless, I want to let all that go. I want it all gone. I want every bit of beef, vigor, hatred, whatever you want to call it. I want it gone. I just want it gone between us. I don't want this to exist anymore because I don't think it does anyone here any good. Do you really think it does any of you any good that may be watching this video? Do you think it's really doing any of us any good to keep some of this going? I mean, like, what's the point? Because it's funny? It's like, fine, but there are other funny things. I would actually just suggest just let bygones be bygones. Me personally, I don't care anymore. I've got way better things to accomplish and way better things to do than sit here and argue with someone on the internet over Spider-Man PS4 or No Way Home or The Dark Knight or Arkham Knight or Batman versus Superman or something like that. I just don't want to do that anymore, and it's a waste of time. What I want to do, and this is kind of like a New Year update, what I want to do, because there's so much cynicism going around, and not just in that small community, but in just the greater film criticism in general, or just just media review and media analysis, I guess would be better. There's too much cynicism in my opinion. Um, and I'm not saying like only talk about you know the things you like and shut up about everything else. I'm not talking about that. That's a garbage take. That's not what I mean. I'm not talking about that kind of thing because that that is like a really stupid thing to say in my opinion. Is like, you only focus on the things, only focus on saying good things about stuff, and shut up about everything else. It's dumb. That's not what I mean. I just mean that in my opinion that being overly cynical is also a bad thing, and I think you need to balance it out by actually talking about really good things. And in my opinion, since it's such a cynical place, I want to start talking about things I actually enjoy and like, rather than focusing on things that I think are awful, like Star Trek Discovery or something like that, or the new Twilight Zone series, or the current state of the MCU. Instead of talking about all that, why don't I actually just, like, because everyone else is talking about that. Everyone else is talking about their gripes with things and why things are poorly written, and a lot of those people make good points, but at the same time, and I'm not saying anyone's wrong, I'm just saying, why do we never talk about something we kind of enjoy? It's like, why do we have to focus on why certain things are so awful? Like, I just got through watching the Deer Hunter recently. What a incredible film. Was really engaging. Was really one of the most emotionally taxing movies I think I've watched in a while. It's a very hard movie to watch, but it was excellent. I would rather talk about the Deer Hunter than talk about why WandaVision sucks, than talk about why Falcon and the Winter Soldier is terrible, or why Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard are awful, and Lower Decks is terrible, and all that. I just would rather talk about literally anything else than why I think certain things are bad at this point, because everyone else is doing that. It's making me cynical. It's making me focus on only what was terrible. And I'm not blaming anyone for this, because again, it's my outlook, it's my problem, it's me. I just want to start talking about things I think are cool, things I think are well written, and things that I personally enjoy and why I enjoy them so much. And I would like to start making my content more focused on focusing more positively and trying not to react to situations rather than just act calmly. You know, when somebody says something or calls me out on something, to not go on a screaming match or try to cause the downfall of their career or something like that, or call them an idiot or something. I don't want to do that anymore. You can do that if you want. I'm not saying you're a lesser man than me because of it. It's just, as for me, in my personal growth, I think it would be better for me, as someone who claims to be about, you know, Christianity and mercy and grace and stuff like that, to actually practice mercy and grace. It's just something I believe. I'm not going to hold anyone else to this standard because it's my standard. It's me. That's what I myself believe. I would suggest the standard, highly suggest the standard, but I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. Um, but as for me, ever since I started doing this, my mental health is just better. Um, and the only really downside of a lot of the stuff that's been happening is the internet drama. I just don't care for it anymore. I wasted way too much time worrying about what other people on the internet think about me, and rather than trying to focus on actually improving and becoming a better person. Which is why this year I am making a lot of changes. 2022 is going to be very different for me. I am going to start cutting back on a lot of stuff that I would have typically done that were just kind of a waste of time. I'm going to start playing less video games. I'm going to start watching movies less, start using the internet a lot less, except for when I'm making videos like this, because I do want to come back to YouTube, and I just want to make positive content that I'm more into, at least more positive, kind of describe some of the do the same thing that the objective crowd does, but just rather than describing how a certain piece of media doesn't work, describe a good piece of media and then go into detail about what makes it so good. That's what I would like to do. It's just me personally. That's just what I want to do of instead of this, the stuff that I was typically doing, where I was trying to tear somebody down. Um, I would like to keep making content. Um, I don't know how consistent of a schedule I can keep up as of now. I'm gonna have to start coming up with videos. I do plan on collabing with some other channels that I know, other creators that I think are pretty cool. I just want to maybe do a show talking about my favorite books. You know, that'd be cool. That's another thing I want to start doing, is since I'm playing video games and watching movies and TV and stuff like that less, and I'm gonna start trying to read more, write more, of course. Set aside a time a day to actually write and focus on what matters. Start trying to get this channel up off the ground again, in a more positive direction. And I know it might sound cringy, but I would just like to start focusing time on trying to do things like pray and meditate. It does wonders. I'd recommend it. It does wonders for me. I would just like to start focusing more time on that because I feel like video games, and it's not just to because I'm not like anti video game or anything like that. Um, I just think in a lot of ways people waste time on those to an enormous degree, and that's coming from someone who loves video games, right? Like it's hard for me to stop playing certain games. Like I love Doom Eternal and I love The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and games like that. I'm really into those games. Same time, I do not need to be sitting down for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 hours a day playing video games. And I would highly suggest you don't either. But that's my New Year's resolution. And I'm also going to start exercising more. I've been watching what I eat. I've already lost quite a bit of weight. But I plan on losing even more in 2022, and I want to get into shape by 2024. That's my plan. I'm going to start focusing on politics less as well. And I just genuinely want to be a better person from here on out. So, once again, I apologize for the wrongs that I've committed to my. I don't know if I'd call you enemies, or I guess adversaries. To my opponents that aren't happy with me, I hope we can put this behind us, and I hope both of us can move on. And I hope, and I genuinely want the best for you. I hope you are blessed beyond measure. I hope you succeed in whatever endeavors that you take up. And who knows? Maybe we'll make up in the end, and maybe we could be friends. And if not, that's fine. I will just move on with my life, and you can move on with yours. I think that's the best for everyone. But as of those of you that I hope are still here, I hope you come with me on this journey as I start talking about content and good content, and start talking about my journey as a writer and stuff like that over these last couple of years, what I've learned, and stuff like that. That's what I plan on making this channel about. So I will hopefully talk to you guys later. I do plan on making more content this year, but it's going to be different for me, and I hope you stick around long enough to find out. So, see all of you later. Goodbye, and have a very happy new year.